Hello, this is Red Centurion G, and welcome to my Halo Reach Legendary Deathless playthrough. So, this is going to be a bit different from the other Deathless playthroughs you may have seen. A few of those would use exploits such as despawning enemies and skipping encounters. We won't be doing that. This one, I took it upon myself during this challenge to try and refrain from doing despawns and skips. Exploits are still allowed, but for the most part, I don't really use them. Only when they don't really break, or no sequence breaks, for example. So no skipping. I'll be killing every single enemy in the game, aside from infinite spawners or others. Be basically taking it on a case-by-case basis. But for the most part, we'll be killing every single enemy in the game, no exceptions. Except for the ones I just listed. So, yeah, a few exceptions, but not many. And of course, as I've already stated, it will be Deathless. It will be on Legendary difficulty. I've just added this screen here to show that I've got only 2 skulls active. I would have been your daddy's skull, which unlocks rare dialogue, or rather makes rare dialogue more common. And the Grunt birthday party skull, which, well, all it does is make Grunt's heads explode with confetti. So they're harmless, they don't add any additional difficulty, and they don't make my job any easier. Now, on this playthrough, at least for Winter Contingency, I've only had to do it once. Didn't have to reset, didn't have to restart at any point. I was able to do this in one clean first run. However, this was also me starting out, so I was overly cautious, and that trend won't continue for the rest of the run. So, yeah, you've probably noticed that it's 40 minutes long. That's not because the level's long; it's because I was being overly cautious, and I hadn't played Halo in a decent amount of time. So, got caught up in playing Total War and other games. I am thinking, also, I should probably mention, I did not do this game full game Legendary Deathless, so it was level by level. I am planning at some point to go back and do a full game Legendary Deathless, but if I do, I will be allowing exploits, or allowing myself to do exploits, because, yeah, I'm not doing Halo 2 Legendary Deathless full game with no skips. You just drive yourself insane. Really. As far as the game's like ranking in terms of hardest to do Legendary Deathless, I would probably, or just Legendary in general, I would say Halo Reach is the 3rd hardest. I'd say 3rd hardest is about right. I'd say it's just ahead of Halo 4 in terms of difficulty. So, yeah, that trend will continue for the next 3 games, actually. It'll be 3rd hardest, then Halo C, 2nd hardest, and Halo 2 hardest. So, basically climbs up the difficulty. So it's not going to get easier from here. I've just included these cutscenes. 1, because, well, I like them. And 2, it allows me time to talk with you guys, add some additional context to my videos before we get to the gameplay, and I have to get down to the breakdowns and the nitty-gritty. So, if you're wondering why these cutscenes are here, they're literally just padding. You may notice some edits in my video. I will be uploading the full streams that I did on Twitch, where you can see me every single one of my attempts. So, yeah, any cuts that occur have just been me splicing in the cutscenes, because if I watched a cutscene once on one attempt, I don't need to watch it again, so I'll just cut it out. So by the time I get to my final attempt, there will be no cutscenes, so I've just spliced them back in. So that any cuts that you notice will probably just be that. Just for full transparency. But like I said, I will be uploading the full streams, so if you want to go watch those, be more than happy to do so. But yeah, here we go. We're getting into Winter Contingency now. We will be in a minute. I have lowered the audio of the gameplay. Reason being, I live in Australia and Twitch is just, yeah, my audio was pretty shit during these streams. Constant hiccuping. You'll hear it when you watch the full upload streams. It's just miserable. So I've just lowered the audio so it's not too noticeable. Plus, I also talked during these initial streams, so you don't want to hear my voice twice. No, I imagine it's hard enough having to listen to my voice to begin with. So, but that's okay. I'm sure I'm not the first person to hate their voice, and I certainly won't be the last. So, we'll just deal with it. Here we are, we're getting into Winter Contingency now. I don't really have much else to say yet, so this first bit of Winter Contingency, I don't have much to say at all, because you're basically just running around. So there's really not much to say. And considering the fact that this is my first attempt of this level, I'll be mostly playing the level like normal. I won't be racing through it. So, apologies for that ahead of time. Is what it is. Just trying to think of anything else I should mention. That's about it. I mean, we're doing Halo Reach. No deaths. Legendary, of course, just to cover my bases. Only 2 skulls. I would have been your daddy. And Grunt Birthday Party skull. And we're doing Winter Contingency. I will be doing all the MCC titles. So Halo Reach, Halo C, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 4 in that order. I won't be doing Halo 5 and Infinite. I did consider doing them, and that was my plan to do them. But to be honest, I just can't be bothered. I only played Halo 5 once. I don't really want to play it again. And Halo Infinite is just... trying to figure out how to do that game Deathless is just kind of a nightmare. Because if you die in the open world, you can't reset the open world. So, like, how do I reattempt an open world? Like, I'd just not have to die, and that's not a good enough solution. So, end of the day, I just can't be bothered doing them anyway. I don't want to talk about the Infinite situation. And obviously, yeah, I don't like Halo 5. I don't like Halo 4 all that much either, but at least with Halo 4, it's got a good story. Halo 5 does not have that. So, yeah, that's the reason I won't be doing Halo 5 or Halo Infinite. I may go back to do them at some point, but it won't be anytime soon. For now, it's just the MCC titles. So, yeah, sorry for those who wanted to do a Halo 5 Legendary Deathless or a Halo Infinite one and are, for some reason, waiting on my videos to teach them how to do it, because I'm sure there's plenty of people who've done it already. I really only did this just to prove that I could. The walkthrough idea came at a later date. Originally, it was just going to be me streaming it. But I figured out why not make a walkthrough out of it. So here we are. So we're moving along now. Playing the mission. Got my pistol out. It's not a Halo C Magnum, but it'll do. It ain't no M6D. I think it's an M6G, from what I remember. So yeah, just listen to a bunch of dialogue at the moment. Nothing difficult going on. Just don't shoot the civilian. That's instant death. They ain't fucking around with those. They'll just instantly kill you. So, definitely want to do that. Don't want to do that. Also, I didn't realise it until I beat Halo Reach, but technically, if you really think about it, you can't actually do Halo Reach Deathless. And it's just because of Lone Wolf, because the whole point of that level is to die. So you kind of have to die to beat the game, which is kind of ironic. So really, truly, Halo Reach is impossible to do Deathless if you want to be literal about it. I don't know, I just found that funny. I didn't realise it until I beat that level and finished the game. And yeah, spoiler alert, I do beat it. Legendary Deathless. So, hope you weren't hanging on that plot twist, because I just spoiled it for you. Okay, we're coming to our real first combat section. Got some skirmishers leaping across rooftops. Some Tavoans, I think that's how it's pronounced. So here we go. So you want to just shoot this skirmisher. There's nothing really to this section. You just shoot the enemies and just don't get killed. Do it at a fair distance. There's only grunts and skirmishers in this area. You obviously want to be using the pistol because it's better than the assault rifle. Reach's assault rifle is not all that great to begin with. So you just want to be headshotting these skirmishers and these grunts so that you can get that nice confetti going. Nothing too complicated, nothing fancy. No tactics tactics are involved. No fancy tactics. You want to pick up a plasma pistol as early as possible, because there's going to be elites later on. And of course, noob combo goes a long way. Noob combo is pretty much going to be the go-to strat for pretty much the entire series, really. Less so in Halo 4, but that's just because of the Prometheans. But yeah, for the most part, you will be using noob combo. So we've cleared out this area. Like I said, nothing too simple, nothing fancy, pretty easy. Anyone can do that. More of the same up here. It's just more skirmishers and grunts, not jackals. And obviously avoid getting killed by the spirit there. Again, I'm playing very cautiously here. That won't continue for the rest of the series. I'll get a lot more quick. And I guess, I don't know, fancy with my strats? Fancy's not really the word. Point is, when I played this level, I hadn't played Halo for a decent amount of time, so I almost die here, but I managed to save it. The skirmishers don't fuck around. This next section is going to have elites, so you're going to want a plasma pistol. I think they're ultras, and one of them, I think, has a concussion rifle. You should have a concussion rifle. Otherwise, they'll have plasma repeaters, which, you're not going to give a shit about, because they're shit weapons and you don't want to pick them up. They're not very good. So, here come the elites now. Looks like I may have been wrong about the concussion rifle. They've all got plasma repeaters. No, one of them has a concussion. Okay, so I was right. Yeah, you definitely want to make the concussion rifle elite your priority. You want to hang behind this rock. Just take cover when you need to. You've got plenty of cover to work with. Just make short work with this concussion rifle elite general, because he's the biggest threat. Noble team will usually deal with the rest of the elites of their own, as you see here. So, yeah, nothing too fancy. Only reason I switched to the concussion rifle here is because I was low on pistol ammo. Normally you just keep the pistol if you've got enough ammo. Concussion rifle is one of those weapons where the enemy's really good with it, but in your hands it's practically useless. It just doesn't do a lot of damage. So, right now I'm waiting here for something. I don't quite remember why, but looks like I came back from doing it. There's going to be a lot of those. Sorry about that in advance. Just is what it is. I had stuff to do. Interruptions would occur, so just bear with me on that. But we're continuing now. We've got a concussion rifle and a plasma pistol. We're going to take the Spade. Of course, Carter and George are going to come with us. Now, these next few sections you could just drive through, but of course we're doing no skips or despawns, so we're going to stop to fight every single one of them. And they're not that hard. They're skirmishers, grunts, and elites. So skirmishers are going to be the biggest threat, I feel like. Elites are dangerous, but skirmishers, yeah, they can be quite annoying, and they usually come with needle rifles and needlers, especially on this level. So we're going to have some skirmishers along here. George is going to take them out for us. Well, he's going to attempt to. Not very well. I'm going to try and splatter them here. You want to watch out for that concussion rifle elite. He almost killed me there. Luckily, he backed off. One more shot and he probably would have finished me off. I'm getting a bit cautious now, so I'm going to get out of the Spade. You might want to do the same. Just take this area slowly. There's going to be one elite. I think the elite that engaged me with a concussion rifle was a Bob elite. They're Easter eggs. They will not stay around. After a certain amount of time, they'll despawn. So he's not a threat. There's going to be an elite here. And some grunts. This elite's got a plasma repeater. Again, not a great weapon when the player's using it, but in the enemy's hands, especially on Legendary, it will kill you very quickly. So you just want to take this area nice and slow, like what I'm doing here. Nothing too fancy, nothing too complicated. Just clearing out the enemies. It's a suicide grunt coming up here. You definitely want to be keeping an eye out for them. They're silent killers sometimes. Sometimes they just don't make any noise. They sneak up on you, and they're an instant kill if they get within range. So you really, really just want to be keeping an eye out for them. They usually only go suicide when you killed their commander, which is either a brute or an elite. So if you killed an elite, there's no other elites in the area, just keep an eye out. There's probably going to be a suicide grunt somewhere. So we've cleared out this area. We're going to return to the Spade now. Gather up Carter and George. And start making our way to the next area. Which I think is going to contain an elite, another elite, and some grunts. So again, nothing too complicated, nothing you can't handle without a little bit of caution. It's also obviously these skirmishers who are an absolute pain in the ass. George is going to take care of them, won't he? I'm going to do the smart thing, which I should have done quite a while back actually, is grab a needle rifle. Or not. It looks like... Okay, so it looks like I didn't pick up the needle rifle because it had less ammo than the pistol. So... But you really do want to be picking up a needle rifle as soon as possible. They're a very good weapon. I'm backing off here so that these skirmishers don't kill me. Some grunts as well. They're going to retreat into that. I assume it's a pumping station of some sort. So it looks like I'm going to return for the needle rifle now. So it appears. I almost killed myself again. It's going to be, I would like to say, a trend in this video. So I've gone back for some health. So hopefully any more near-death experiences like that will be kept to the minimum. George is taking his time to get back on the flatbed. And we're back on our way. Apologies for the backtracking, but when you're doing a legendary Deathless playthrough, you do have to be overly cautious. And ammo is key. You don't want to be going to areas with low ammo. So we got this area, we got an elite, and some grunts. Nothing too complicated. Got an elite major with plasma repeater, obviously. So just take him with a great. I was going to say a great assault. That doesn't really apply. Just take him slowly. There's no reason to rush. I'm picking off the grunts so that the elite can be easier to deal with. Grunts aren't much of a threat on their own, but when you're hyper-focused on elite, that's how they get you. All it takes is one lucky plasma grenade. I'm going to start pre-charging your plasma pistol in preparation for dealing with this elite. I'm going to perform what's known as a noob combo, and for those who don't know what that is, it's overcharging your plasma pistol to knock out an elite's shields and then whipping out a precision weapon for an instant headshot. It is the most efficient way for dealing with elites. I almost died there again because I was getting impatient and that elite was dodging all my plasma pistol shots. But that's fine, we've got some health. We're all good. Yeah, that's the noob combo. You definitely want to be relying on that for a lot. It makes dealing with elites, regardless of shield strength, somewhat trivial. Not entirely, but somewhat. So we've cleared out this area. We're about to push on to what some would consider a somewhat tough level. Probably the first tough or hard section of this level, but it's not that hard. In fact, it's not really hard at all. But considering this, for comparison's sake, this level's idea of what's difficult, it would be considered tough. And I almost lost all my health again there. I just have no luck in that regard. And of course, Carter EMPs my Spade with armor lock. Armor lock for your noble team NPCs is like bubble shield for brutes in Halo 3. They just abuse the fuck out of it. Every chance they get. Moving on now. This area is going to be a bit of a short wave defense. There's going to be 2 spirit dropships that come in, first of which is this one. It's going to drop off some enemies. At least a few elite ultras, some grunts. So I rushed all the way over there to avoid the spirit blasting the shit out of me. You don't have to do that. You can come around the right side as you're coming up and avoid the spirit dropship altogether. I just like to do that to be safe. And it also allows these enemies to aggro onto these marines so that you can sneak up behind them. Sorry, not marines, army troopers. So there's a DMR on the floor. You want to switch your pistol for that as quickly as possible. Rush up these steps like I'm doing. Jump over here. You don't have to do this, but it does make this section much easier and safer to do, and we're all about safety here. I'm running around like a headless chicken, trying to find this way up, because again, I was rusty at the game at the time of streaming this, so it's been a long while. So I am piss-farting around trying to find a way up to this area. Looks like I finally found it. Looks like I got tempted by that shotgun for a second, but I thought the better of it. So you just want to get up here and use this vantage point to just snipe enemies from safety. And because your noble team allies are invincible, they will largely just soak up all the fire for you, and hopefully even get a few kills of their own. We'll just snipe all these grunts, make them a priority, and then try and deal with the elite last. Because again, you can easily kill the grunts. The elite is the tough target. So there's 2 elites here. One of them is an ultra, one of them is a major. Both have plasma repeaters. I saw it appeared. I think that ultra actually... Yeah, that ultra actually has a needle rifle. which is why you want this vantage point. Lots of cover, you don't have to engage the Ultra in close quarters. Picking off these enemies. Looks like while I was piss fighting around, the second Spirit dropship came and left, which is why there's more elites down here than I initially thought there would be. So once that second dropship has come, you just got to eliminate all these enemies and you'll have cleared this section. Wasn't so hard, was it? Of course, I make it look hard with my shitty aim. That will improve, I promise. This elite's giving me some trouble, but I don't want to close distance in case. But it's all good. He's now dead. So Falcon's about to arrive in a second to carry us off to the next section of the mission. So if there's any ammo you can scrounge off the ground, now would be the time to do it. Fresh plasma pistol. And we get on the Falcon. And now for the short Falcon ride to the next section of the level. Sorry about that, just taking a quick drink. Nothing really to say here, so I'll chime back in when I have something to chime up about. So we're coming upon the next section of the level now. There's a bunch of jackals. This is our first encounter with jackals in this game. There's going to be elites, jackals, and grunts. Jackals aren't the big problem, of course. Elites should always be a priority, but a good grenade or two will clear out a bunch of these enemies quite easily. I try to throw one here and fail miserably. Don't kill anything. But generally, throwing a grenade in there would be good because it gets you at least a decent amount of kills. You want to watch out for those jackals because they will overcharge their plasma pistol at you and down your shields. Luckily, they don't have a precision weapon of their own, otherwise they would be very, very dangerous. You just want to shoot the jackal in the little knock on the side of their shield to get them to stun, and then go in for the quick headshot. That's the best way to deal with jackals. I rush in here, grab some DMR ammo. You can just hide in here and wait out the whole sequence, but we're all about that killing enemies business. This is one of those areas where infinite enemies do spawn, so you don't have to kill everything. I kill everything on these first couple waves, but then the last wave comes where you're supposed to get inside and you don't have to kill anything because it's infinite. The enemies infinitely spawn in the section. So, no need to do that. There's going to be a spirit dropship that lands here and drops off an elite and some grunts. I'm trying to spawn camp him. It appears that the grunts spawned in that area and dropped off in that area, but the elite did not. But I was able to get a few grunts. You definitely want to be dealing with the elite as soon as you can because he will rush this area that you're in. Just stick to this area, it's nice and safe for the most part. Enemies have to come to you. I'm about to rush into that area because I know that the last wave is about to start. You'll know it when Kat says her dialogue about there, we're in. When she says that, that's the last wave and you can rush inside to safety. Just make sure you don't do it like you're not too gung-ho about it, otherwise the enemies can and will kill you before you get in there. Especially those spirit dropships. We're rushing in now, and now we're pretty much home free, we're just got to wait. AI likes to be a bit derpy here. The door doesn't start closing until all the AI are at least inside the threshold. So, just got to wait for them to come in. They will do eventually. Carter here is obviously taking his sweet time. Right now I'm getting frustrated with Carter because he's not getting inside. But, plot twist, spoiler, he does. So we're all good. I didn't have to go out there to get him to come through. And there. That's another particularly difficult section of this level. Done. So, not much to worry about there. This next section has no combat, so again, there's really not much for me to say. So, I'll chime up again when there's something to be said. Damn, plasma damage. It was a meme back in the plasma posting days. Damn, the Elites had such a cool design and reach. Loved how every one of their armors looked different and unique. It was really cool. I think it's where Elite armor design kind of peaked. Although Halo 2 still remains my favourite. Still waiting for the day where we get Honor Guard customization. But for that, we'd have to have playable Elites. So, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. That conversation's been worn down and said to death. Anyway, getting back into the thick of it. There's going to be an Elite Zealot here with Concussion Rifle. You don't have to deal with him straight away, but you will have to deal with him eventually. Once you get close enough or kill enough enemies, he will retreat to the last part of the level. So you don't have to deal with him right now. So there's going to be some grunts and jackals here. Just ignore the Zealot. Because again, he will just retreat to the final room where he's much easier to deal with. Owing to the fact that you will have a plasma pistol again by then. Because this part of the level resets your weapons for some reason. It's kind of annoying. If I had a plasma pistol here, I would have been able to easily deal with this guy, but I don't. And the only way to get it is to push down the middle where he has more than enough room to reduce your ass to atoms. So there's just no reason to even attempt it. Just let George soak up all the damage and slowly push forward while killing all of his little minions and underlings. This jackal's giving me a bit of a problem that he's dealt with. Right around this time, that Zealot is going to start retreating. So Zealot is now retreated, so you're safe to push up now. There'll be more jackals and grunts in these next few rooms. Just take that step carefully. Pick up a plasma pistol. Keep a DMR, because it's better than the pistol. But keep a plasma pistol on hand for dealing with those elites. You want to just take care of these grunts and jackals. In the last room, there will be that concussion rifle wielding zealot, as well as a zealot in the final room with an energy sword. The energy sword one, pretty easy to deal with. Just draw him out into the open where you can easily dispatch him. Concussion rifle guy is the real threat, so you want to prioritize him as soon as possible. This section's, it's not rocket science, pretty damn easy. Just take it slow, headshot all the enemies. Wazza. I'm going back for some DMR ammo. It's really not necessary, we're at the end of the level now. Only 2 enemies left. A zealot with the concussion rifle, and a zealot with an energy sword. Which, kind of a dick move on Bungie's part, to give you an energy sword at the very end of the level. Definition of a cock tease. Anyway, we're here now. Oh yeah, I forgot about these grunts. There's a few grunts. Again, they're not a real threat. Yeah, there's just a few grunts there. And then after that, you just got the 2 zealots. This section can be a bit risky if you're not really paying attention, so you want to make sure you keep an eye on these zealots The energy sword guy came out early. That was unexpected, but he's now dead. And it's just the concussion rifle wielding elite. He has now decided to come out. And boom, he's dead. And that's it. That's the level. Now you just got to hit the switch and you are done. You've now beaten Winter Contingency, Legendary Deathless, killing all the enemies. So I will leave you guys at that. I will leave this end cutscene to play. Really not much else to say at this point because of course the level's over. Like I said, I will be doing the whole of the MCC titles all the way from Reach to 4, so keep in touch for that. I will be doing the dreaded Halo 2 Legendary Deathless as well, so you can watch me suffer at that. My god, did I suffer. I think it took me 4 streams to beat Regret, so we're going to have lots of fun of that when we get to that level. But I did find a consistent way to beat it without dying, so keep an eye out for that when that comes. But that's a while off, so dealing with Reach now. We've beaten Winter Contingency, only Sword Base is up next. I'll have that hopefully uploaded by tomorrow. If not, it's coming up soon. Meal being a bit of a dick. Always found it interesting how Emil's the only one on Noble Team who doesn't reveal his face at any point. With the exception of Noble 6, but Noble 6 gets a pass because it's the player's character. He's meant to be an avatar. There's concept art of, like, Emil's face. It's just never used. He's canonically black. I just find it interesting. I wonder if that was intentional or if it just got cut for time.